And today we are very specifically on the day called I Value Myself. I value myself. Let me tell you something. Valuing yourself is a big deal. It is a big deal. When you don't value you, it comes across in your actions. It comes from your thought life. It comes from your mouth. It comes from how others treat you. When others don't treat you well, when they don't listen, when they don't choose you, so to speak, more than likely it's because you don't have a value of yourself. I recognize this is a very deep thing to say, one that might take you a moment to even consider or realize or wonder how it would even work. But I'm just sharing with you in this week of the week of respecting yourself. Usually you end up entangled with someone who doesn't respect you because they don't respect themselves, or you end up entangled in a situation where you were drawn into it and there's something within you that doesn't value you, and therefore the people that don't value themselves, you end up kind of partnering with people that don't value themselves and therefore won't have any value for you. And you cannot tell if someone values themselves by how much they make, by how good they look, how rich their family is. None of those things determine value. You can meet the poorest people on the planet and they can have more value than the richest people on the planet, because money does not determine your wealth. Money does not determine your worth. So valuing yourself, it's an internal place. Usually it comes from you being valued when you were in your mom's womb and in your growing up years. I believe age 4 is scientifically considered the year of trust. So from 0 to 4, that's when a child determines their own value for themselves, determines their own trust for themselves, determines their own trust for humanity, determines their trust for authority. And all of that works together in a place of valuing themselves. And you and I valuing ourselves throughout our whole lifetime. So today, in valuing yourself, I'm reading a bit from my computer this time. It's appreciating and respecting how God made you. And my question to you is, do you appreciate? Do you respect how God made you? You know, the person who's coming to my mind right this moment is, oh my goodness, who is a woman that is not unable to use her hands, her arms, but yet she paints with her mouth, and she's a paraplegic. Joni, is that correct? Joni Erickson. Joni Erickson Tata, I believe. I apologize if I didn't know that. I do know that, but I'm in a different focus right now. Anyhow, that person comes to mind. I guarantee when she had that conflict and that challenge that it took her quite some time to find value for herself, since she did not function from a place where other people found value for themselves. But her value for herself comes across in what content comes from her, what she gives to the world, how she has not given up, how she has not turned back, how she has not given in to the voices that say she has no value, she has no worth, and she has no input, because she has found a platform for value, for worth, and for input. But I guarantee that is a lifelong commitment. The gentleman who has no arms and no feet, wow, and figured out a way to live out life and ended up marrying and having children. Listen, he has lived a lifetime learning his value is not from his looks, his value is not from how he functions physically. He had to find value for himself, and that was an inside job. So I encourage you today to consider the value you have for you, why you do or do not have value for you. So do you do you understand that God made you himself, that you're fashioned within your mother's womb by God himself, that there is a design within the cell in which you were created. There is a design there with a huge assignment, with a divine alignment for you to find the creator of your seed. Yes, I realize that you have a biological father, but that biological father's seed is an incorruptible seed coming from a heavenly place. That may not make sense to you. Your father may have been a creep. Your father may have had no value for himself. Your father may have left you. Your father may have abandoned you. Your mother may have left you. Your mother may have abandoned you. You may have felt like crap your entire life. But you get to have a change of mind. You get to agree with the one who made you that you have value, that you have worth, that you're created in the image of God himself, and that God himself lives inside of you. You get to have a change of mind so that you can live the rest of your days from a place of value, from a place of self-respect, and not from a place of self-hatred. And remember, if you're just jumping in today, this week has been the week of discussing self-respect and how the lack of self-respect is really a place of self-hatred. I've shared stories along the way. I encourage you to go back and listen to this week's message on this week of self-respect. So listen, today's the mind thought is for you to think. Just think these thoughts. I value myself. I value me. And in that place where you value you, if something comes to you and shows you areas you don't value you, write those things down. Write them down. These are things for you to recognize so that when you move into that pattern of not valuing you, you can stop and go, wait, this is a place where I don't value myself. And change your mind right that moment and do something different to match with who lives inside of you, and not just a cycle of not valuing you that's been built over a lifetime. Also, with your mouth, I want you to say, I have an inheritance. I have an inheritance in love. That God loved me so much that he gave his son for me. And now I live and can love from a place of sonship, from a place of God, a place of Godhead from within me. And then today, there are several things you can do today. If you have the book, there is a list called the Love Yourself list. You can refer to that. And a couple things you could do today. One, you could hug yourself a gazillion times. I like that idea, honestly. Meaning every 10 steps you stop and hug yourself. And nobody even needs to know. You can walk 10 steps and just kind of go, and know you're hugging you. Listen, there are all sorts of ways to live out your life in public while privately addressing things that nobody knows about and nobody even would consider about you. Loving yourself. Loving yourself. Now, I want you today to intentionally and internally take a moment to really consider life within you and your cognizant and conscious ability to love yourself without limits. Because God certainly does. God's love for you is not based on what you can do or what you cannot do. It's not based on your strengths. It's not based on your weaknesses. It's not based on your past, not based on your present, not based on your future. It's not based on the kudos. It's not based on lack of kudos. It's not based on your performance. God's love is simply God's love. And you are his kid, and his love for you is the same it is when you grab a baby and they've done nothing yet to deserve your love. They haven't walked yet. All they're doing is pooping in your arms. They're, expelling all sorts of things. You're like, oh my goodness. But your love for them is so pure and so real and they're completely dependent upon you. God's love for us is is his love is not determined by our performance, and that never changes. It never changes. We're the ones who change the rules. We're the one who says, well, you don't get my respect unless you do such and which and such and which. We're the ones who took the worldly rules of work ethic. Well, if you don't do these 10 steps in your job, you're fired. Well, if you take that into your home life, into your relationship life, well, if you don't do these things, you're out of here, then you're not functioning from love. You're not functioning from relationship. You're functioning from a work-oriented, harsh yoke, law, religious-oriented belief system. And God wants that to change because his love for you is so great and so pure and so amazing and so awesome. His love is not just a spiritual post on Facebook. His love is more than just some cute little meme that you want to tell the world, oh, how much they're loved. No, love is action. Love is real. Love is true. Love comes forth in how we live out our life, out here and in here. So I encourage you today, in this day of valuing you, to take some very true and real steps of valuing you. Real, true, real steps for you privately. And make that practice that you do, that practice of value, permanent. And it will come forth in how you treat other people. Because if you treat all these people out here unkindly, you're treating yourself unkindly in here. And I will say, there are times when it's a little shifted where all these people are getting loved, and yet you're not loving you at all. So it's a mix. And that's where you got to get with the ones who created you here, so you know how you really feel and how you're truly functioning. If you're really functioning from an authentic place of love and life and living, or you're wearing some kind of mask. Don't wear the mask any longer. Believe me. God loves you with your mask, but it's kind of hard for you to love you with your mask. I bless you. I value you. I welcome your comments. I welcome your participation. Please do share this video. Let the world know that they are valued, they are loved, and they're important. Let your friends know they are valued, they're loved, they're important. Let's all go on a journey to respecting ourselves and loving ourselves without limits, because God inside of us loves us without limits. I bless you. You'll also find a way to link up with the reading. And if you're in a book club, you're welcome to share this with your book club. And so I bless you until tomorrow, where we will do the next days in the Respect Week. Okay, bye. Love.